Hello! Welcome to PopNerdery, the show that is nerdier than getting a tattoo of all the Doctor Who's with Santa hats on your lower back after getting drunk on Romulan wine-spiked eggnog. This is a place where you are allowed to have an opinion on anything in pop culture, but you gotta have just a little bit more than just a tiny little bit to say. We do pick out some highlights that have us talking this week, and we'll go ahead and spit out some atomic fire hot takes for you, and we look forward to you letting us know where and what you like. I am your host, Brent, and with me is a league of just ordinary gentlemen. As always, I have my shoulder Satan, Toph, and my dashboard Jesus, Dave. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing great. This is Dave Foltz. I tweet as @PopNerdery for the site.
Oh, Topher Howden here, your favorite rapper's favorite blogger and favorite host's bad intentions. Got a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. You can follow us on the Twitters, as Dave mentioned, @PopNerdery, PopNerdery. We comment on things as they happen between shows. We inappropriately subtweet. I usually can throw in a GIF of a cat wearing a hat. I'm pretty much guaranteed to do one of those three things. Got a couple different ways you can listen to the show. The first one is on the old iTunes.
That seems
Go to
easy.
the podcast section, open up that good old search bar, type Pop Nerdery into the box, put it in your ears, and love us. Make sure you rate, review, say nice things about me, talk about how our tones feel in your ears. Let us know. The second one is on the website, popnerdery.com. Archive all the shows there, and typically can be found arguing over which Doctor Who looks best in that Santa hat in the comment section.
There's no better use of anyone's time, let's be honest.
On the internet? Absolutely not. Third way to listen to the show is write all of the Enterprise captains' middle names on the underside of a bottle cap, stick that in the mail it to Dave Foltz, and he will come stand over your shoulder and podcast for you live. I'll give you the first one. It's Tiberius.
I'll be there. I'm like a Krampus. You can't keep me away.
We're so festive. Our opening had at least two references to something holiday.
At least two holiday themes.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think we'll still be able to make another couple of shows before the holidays, or we might be buried under our Star Wars nerdgasm, though.
That's true.
Star Wars is actually happening next week, guys. Oh, no.
You're making it up.
Yeah.
It's not real. We've all been asleep. We're all in some Matrix-style comatose, and there's not actually another Star Wars movie coming out. Armageddon will happen before.
How crazy would it be if this was like an extended like Star Trek II JJ joke where he fooled us into thinking this was a Star Wars movie, but actually it was just another Khan movie.
Khan's going to come out after like the galaxy fades and the titles are like that. God. Yeah, that would.
On one hand, I'd be really sad. On the other hand, that like troll game on fleek right there.
Yeah.
That'd be
I wouldn't even be that mad. I'd
after
be sad.
it sold like $100 million in pre-sales.
And just hit you with Star Trek.
Do you guys think?
And
this
30
movie...
minutes later, the press release comes out from Disney that they've bought Paramount.
You guys think this movie is going to make over or under $1.5 billion in the domestic box office?
Ooh.
I'm thankful that I don't know enough about box office records or the finances of Hollywood to appropriately answer that question.
Solid point.
All that I know is that right now, Avatar, I think, has the highest grossing box office totals. And I can almost guarantee, just based off everything that should happen in my lifetime, that record get broken by Star Wars Episode 7.
Yeah, and I really think there were a lot of people who were worried about Christmas and it being Christmas time and people not wanting to go see it, but I literally could not think of a thing that I'd rather do over Christmas break than go see Star Wars another 2 times after I see it on opening night.
Correct.
Agreed.
Were you guys able to get tickets? Oh no, Brent, you and I are seeing it together, so yes, Brent was able to get tickets.
Huh.
And we're going to hold hands the whole time.
Huh. I'm just going to third wheel it by myself over here. Don't mind me, guys. Just be over here.
That wasn't awkward.
Wah, wah, wah. Was that the first time you found out we're seeing it together
plans?
without you?
all of you shouting me at one time.
Oh no! All right. So
Makes
we
for a
are going to
great
talk
podcast.
about trailers. We're going to finish our discussion from last week in the B segment. But first, the news. We are going to start out talking about a trailer. I'm going to leave most of the discussion until the B segment. But the Batman v Superman trailer was released right after we recorded the last podcast. So we had a small discussion after our last recording. But I wanted to get your guys' initial thoughts on this trailer. But we'll leave the main discussion till the end. Give me a quick teaser, Brent.
I was, being the resident DC guy, I had no tightening of the pants by watching it. There was only mild excitement about some of the visuals. I don't love the look of Affleck's Batman as much as I did in some of the stills, and I'm very just kind of even on my excitement for Batman v Super. So,
okay. Toph, what do you think?
Better than the teaser, my pants did tighten.
Yes. Thanks for keeping it nice and quick.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts are I actually liked Affleck as both Bruce Wayne and Batman. I thought he did a great job. I really liked that they used the voice modulator when he's in the regular Batsuit, so there's no threat of Christian Bale voice, because I know that's enough to make Toph jump off the bridge.
Uh-huh.
I thought Jesse Eisenberg was a little bit hammy as Lex Luthor, but what are you going to do? And then we'll talk about this later when we talk about our best and worst trailers. But I did thought that they gave away way too much of the second half of the movie. That trailer pretty much told you exactly what the plot's going to be. It gave you kind of the resolution to the Batman-Superman conflict that is right there in the title. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in the B segment. In Batman v Superman news, the costume designer Michael Wilkinson confirmed that, like we talked about last week, those desert scenes with Desert Batman and Scary Superman are the Nightmare Bruce Wayne Nightmare Batman version. And also, he confirmed that the first look at the DCEU version of the Flash will be seen in this film as well. So I've kind of heard from a couple of different places that it would be similar to, like, if you guys remember at the end of Iron Man 2, Tony Stark got to see his first glimpses of the Hulk and glimpses of the Avengers on playback screens and stuff like that. I think it's going to be something similar, that maybe it's like the Bat computer, or Amanda Waller makes an appearance or something like that, where we're going to see a little bit of footage of the Flash, maybe a little bit of footage of Aquaman. So the only two, that would be 5 of the 7 Justice Leaguers that they've confirmed that we're going to see in the Justice League movie. So the only 2 that are missing are Green Lantern and Cyborg. So Cyborg has been cast, and as far as we know, Green Lantern has not. So I'm assuming that if these people are cast, and we've already been told we're going to see Aquaman and the Flash, that we'll probably see Cyborg as well. The only reason I think we might not is because that's a pretty CGI-intensive character. So it might be a little tough to get that one in there. In other news, Creed director Ryan Coogler is back in talks to direct Black Panther for Marvel. They talked to him a little while back on Black Panther. Things cooled off a little bit. They talked to a couple other directors in between, but apparently, according to Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Heroic Hollywood, a couple other places, Marvel and Coogler are talking again. He directed Fruitvale Station, which was very critically acclaimed, as well as Creed, which crushed at the box office the last 2 weeks and has also gotten really great reviews. So I'm totally on board for this. I like the casting for it. I like this choice to move forward with a director. So we'll see if this gets locked down over the next couple of weeks. Also, Marvel and Netflix hired a showrunner for Iron Fist. I think we talked a couple weeks ago that Iron Fist might be put on the back burner, and that is not the case. So obviously,
no.
Yeah, and I'm really thankful for that because I was really excited to see how they do that, especially after I got through Jessica Jones. We talked about how much I liked that last week, and I'm excited to see where that story can go. For those of you that don't know Scott Buck, the guy that they hired as the showrunner, he was executive producer on both Dexter and 6 Feet Under. So maybe we'll see Dexter, Michael C. Hall. Maybe we'll see him hired on as Danny Rand. I think that would be okay casting. I think he could definitely play that character. I don't know if he's down for that. I know that he's, at least from what I can tell, hasn't been working a whole ton since Dexter.
Maybe by choice. He might be happily taking some time off.
Yeah, I think he's a really good actor. I don't know if you guys watched Dexter or where you came down on it, but the first 3-4 seasons of that show were really solid.
Yeah.
I thought
heard good things, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Dexter was essentially the non-comic book Batman if he decided killing was okay. That's how he would go about it in a clinical.
Interesting, yeah.
If he did nothing but take lives as opposed to taking no lives.
Exactly, but Batman would hold himself to that code that
Correct.
Dexter had.
Yeah.
To make sure that he had the proof. So
yeah.
With this news, we also had a timeline we also had a description for the Iron Fist come out, so take a look at that. If you're super interested in the character, there was the first log line, I guess, for the show came out. But they did also say that no new timeline was given for the show, so we don't know when it's going to drop, but that Daredevil Season 2 would drop first. That's going to be the next Netflix show in spring of 2016, and Luke Cage would be the next one following that in spring of 2017. So it looks like Daredevil has already been shot. They've released a couple of trailers at expos and stuff like that, like merchandising stuff. And Luke Cage has already started shooting. So it's also possible, in my opinion, that we could get a second season of Jessica Jones or the Defenders miniseries before we ever get Iron Fist. So it'll be a while before we get it. But I'm excited to hear that it's going to happen because these Netflix shows have been pretty great so far. Speaking of Daredevil trailers, there was some merchandising expo that they did. It was like a Comic-Con experience expo where they showed bits of Daredevil fighting the new Punisher, who's John Bernthal from Walking Dead. I actually think John Bernthal is a really great actor when he's not talking. From that first season of Walking Dead, I really liked him as Shane when he was just kind of brooding around and doing stuff that was kind of badass. There was a pretty lengthy description of this in the story that I read, and it sounded pretty great. It introduces Punisher, where the first time we see him, he's standing with a sniper rifle on top of a building, which is for those of you that remember, that's how he was introduced on the cover of Spider-Man, whatever it was, 420 something or 408, 109. Somebody is screaming at me on the other side.
100%.
Just make up numbers.
That's a wall book that you see at a lot of comic book shops because it looks really badass. So the last bit of Marvel news I have is that they released the first concept art from Doctor Strange, and it looks a little bit like Cumberbatch. Looks like they almost photoshopped his face on there. But I
didn't see that actually. I kind of have to disagree. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's an artist rendering, and the one thing I will say though is it looks fucking exactly like Doctor Strange looks in the comics.
It looks bad as shit, but it doesn't look anything like Cumberbund Baddick Ditch.
Yes. Oh yeah. And it's it plays up the cosmic, it plays up the mystical, which is what we've always talked about with the Marvel movies is they pick a genre and they go there. And that's why they make good movies. They don't make superhero movies, they make movies. So I'm really excited to see them going all in on this and not shying away from what the story of this guy is. Because if you look at it, Doctor Doom has a very similar origin with very similar, mystical background, and they've never had the balls, to put that on film yet. So,
yeah.
All right, that's it for Marvel. We joked a little bit earlier that JJ might be playing an elaborate hoax on us, and that we would actually get Star Trek 3 instead of Force Awakens on the 17th, but there will be a Star Trek Beyond trailer that's going to debut in front of Force Awakens on the 17th. So it's one of many trailers, probably because of the JJ connection. That's why they're able to get one of those coveted spots. There was we've never talked about it before, but there's a list. We're going to talk about trailers a lot. We obviously like trailers here on the show, so I wanted to talk about the ones that are going to run before Star Wars. Most of them make sense. Batman v Superman, probably the trailer that we just saw, will run on the big screen, so it'll be nice to see that on the big screen. You'll have the Star Trek trailer. You'll have X-Men Apocalypse. You'll have the new Independence Day sequel. Will have its first trailer, which I am not excited about, but I'm very curious about.
Curious is a good word.
Yeah, I'm very curious about where that goes next.
And it has no Will Smith, so you can breathe easy. So.
And you'll likely see the Cap Civil War trailer because it is a Disney movie, and you'll see the Jungle Book most likely.
I'm very excited about that.
Yes.
I want to see it. The one that doesn't make sense to me is The Huntsman's Winter War for two reasons. One, I didn't think that they were going to make another one of those. I didn't think that Snow White and the Huntsman was all that successful. And two, I guess it is a Disney movie, but it's not really like a genre movie in the same way as.
Maybe they're trying to make that a genre, though.
And it has Thor in it. Come on.
Yeah, it does have Thor.
And like the Cinderella live action, like that's kind of based on some of the announcements that they've made. That's kind of a place where Hollywood seems willing to go, is the live action / photorealistic versions of classic fairy tales, right?
Well,
the Jungle Book is exactly like that, in a sense.
Yeah, but that movie was originally dark.
Oh, absolutely.
With dwarfs,
and the Jungle Book, the book, was very dark. So, I think there's a place for that in today's Hollywood, and that's probably why they're trying to create a genre out of it. But
I'm with you though, Dave. I'm just kind of surprised they made another one.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense that the trailer is there. I'm more surprised that they made that one.
That it exists.
Right.
I did see concept art from it, and it looks like they got a lot of name actresses to play, the villainess, I guess, roles in this movie. But that one didn't make sense to me that they made it at all.
Interesting, yeah.
Also, JJ confirmed that there would not be an after credits sequence along with The Force Awakens. I suggest you sit there.
That's a good thing, though. It's a good thing.
No.
Go ahead, guys.
I like those. I think they're fun. I have no problem with that. We discussed this, I think, briefly last week or the week before, the after scene of the Avengers eating shawarma, when in reality those guys really actually hate each other, but they're just so traumatized and exhausted that, that's all they can do is just eat some shawarma.
So I will say this, yes, I'd like to have seen, but I'm glad they're sticking with the traditional, that is a thing that has never happened in Star Wars, thus it will not happen in this Star Wars.
Well,
But I have a hard time believing that I won't actually sit through the credits to listen to John Williams' full score of brand new music.
Yeah.
My other problem with this is the prequels already sullied the pattern, so I don't really care if
you should start something
with these. So what tradition? I'm like, the tradition's already been shit upon. Now I'm hoping for redemption. So if in the redemption, I want something better.
Yeah. I really do. One thing that I could see and that I wish they would have done is maybe they could appease both of you guys, where maybe they don't do an after credit sequence, they keep with the tradition, but they do a teaser of some kind for the next anthology film. I would love to see some sort of teaser from Rogue One. Like that would be crazy fun.
That would be awesome.
I got it. I have the solution.
There you go.
I don't want to see J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot before the movie starts.
Okay.
That will sully So what you do is you put that at the end, and instead of the little boxy robot, you put BB-8.
I like the teaser for Rogue One though.
I think that would be really great, and I'm very curious about what a non Skywalker family Star Wars movie is going to be like, and they've really cast the hell out of that movie with a lot of great actors.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, and
we've heard nothing. And we're
not
like
really. There was
one
one teaser image.
Yeah.
There was one teaser image.
But that was all CGI, and it was like thrown together for whatever Comic-Con or whatever that was. So they've really slow rolled any marketing.
Yeah. Brent, you said something to me about the Fox fanfare. Obviously, the Fox fanfare is not going to be ahead of the movie because it's not a Fox movie.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that John Williams is doing some sort of an original piece to be similar to it.
Yes, he composed new music. There's YouTube evidence on there, out there for the listeners of new music that John Williams composed that goes over, I believe, the Lucasfilm greenish gold image that we're used to seeing.
Yeah. That
mimics that a little bit. And I think it appeared on the most recent Blu-ray box set or something, because that's the reason YouTube footage of it exists.
Okay.
So I think it's out there already, yeah.
Because I've stopped watching trailers and teasers, that's the thing I've been most curious about since you mentioned it to me, is what does that sound like? And my wife, bless her, has been gracious enough to go back and rewatch the original trilogy with me.
Nice.
My totally not bootlegged versions of the original theatrical cuts of these three movies. Yes, and they're in full HD and they look really great.
That's
outside of the puppetry and whatnot. That there are only a couple of puppets that are a little bit tough, like the Max Rebo band in at the beginning of Jedi is a little tough. But at least it's not the Max Rebo band plus the CGI version with added vocals.
Right.
So
yes.
I'm at least thankful for that.
That's the part I think that is the most sullied for me is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That music and the music for the Ewok Village celebration. I loved the Yub Yub.
Yeah.
And I loved
the
Yub Sai Snibbles or whatever her name was.
Yep.
Original piece. So that part is definitely sullied by all the special edition stuff for me. But
I found in going back, because you guys have mentioned that Jedi is your favorite for both of you, right? You guys like Jedi the best.
Yeah.
I've said that I think objectively Empire is the best movie, but my favorite is the first one, is A New Hope, the one that I would like to rewatch the most. I think A New Hope is a fairly perfect, in my opinion, hero's journey film. I think it's great. But I did find that I liked Jedi a lot more than I remembered. The only part that was tough was the very middle, when they first get to Endor, but they're not fighting Imperials yet. They're being captured by Ewoks and shit like that. That was the tough. That was difficult. But I love all the Jabba's
the Jabba stuff's great.
And I love the fight, the Imperials,
the Emperor stuff,
Rebels and Ewoks. And you guys did some great impressions of the Emperor on the last episode. And watching the Emperor after you guys, I almost wished it was your voices.
Perfect.
I feel like ours had more spirit to them, certainly.
I think so.
If not more talent, at least more spirit.
And
honestly,
I
did hear rumblings of Disney/Lucasfilm being willing to re-release non-edited original trilogy films in the near future, which would be a big get for the dork community.
Versions?
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Because I think the prequels are for the most part pretty bad. Right? Yes. There are some redeemable qualities in them, but for the most part they're bad. And I think the more egregious thing was the special editions and the fact that you weren't able to get the old ones. I felt
more insulting as opposed to the prequels.
Yeah, right.
The last thing that we have here on Star Wars is that I guess George Lucas has seen it or seen parts or something, and he was able to give us.
Yeah.
his thumbs up in an interview this week, and that he will be going to the premiere. He used some like weird language about it's like when you divorce your wife and
oh god,
you don't want to burn her house down, but you don't want to go or whatever. I don't know exactly the verbiage he used, but it was a little aggressive. Moving on, guys, I think we might have to start watching Supergirl because this week's episode revealed that the Martian Manhunter is going to be a regular part of the show.
Yes.
And the Martian Manhunter is one of my top 5 all-time comics characters. It's a great story. He's the last of his planet, but his planet still exists. He has like a credible weakness. His weakness is fire. He doesn't like fire. So it's not like he's super
bad.
Powerful. But he's a shapeshifter, so a lot of different artists can take a lot of different paths. I don't know. I've just always loved that character.
He's fantastic. He's a green alien with typically no pupils. That has a chance to look really stupid, and amazingly enough, it never does.
Yeah, and it looks really great.
Yes.
And so the way they did it was really nice and sneaky. Was they used his shape-shifting powers, which is great for TV because having an actor with no green makeup on is a lot easier to do well than having an actor with green makeup on. So using his shape-shifting to give him like a civilian identity is great. But it turned out to be a guy who's a real big part of the show so far. Like I said, I've been watching, but the main guy who has been like Supergirl's handler, who has told her like these guys, are here because you are here. You need to, clean up the earth or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like prisoners from the Phantom Zone or something. I still think that show's going to have a huge villain problem, what with Supergirl being invulnerable, but anytime we get Martian Manhunter in any medium, whether it's, Justice League Unlimited or
whatever
Supergirl TV show, I'm down for that.
My only issue with it is he appears to have pupils.
Yeah, he does. But
John Jones does not have pupils.
But they did give him great red eyes.
He does. That's true.
Great red eyes when he makes his transformation.
This is probably the second most. Well, he's not even really that esoteric, but between getting a live version of Gorilla Grodd and Martian Manhunter, like 10-year-old me is so fucking excited right now.
I think it's only a matter of time because in Supergirl they've already shown Superman, just not his face.
Yeah.
Because they haven't cast an actor. So I think it's only a matter of time before these DC TV shows cross over with the Batman world. I don't think they're going to cross over with Gotham because
No.
It's not Berlanti and Jeff Johns are the guys who run Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl.
Yeah.
I don't think they are going to connect themselves or whatever with this, associate themselves with the abomination that is Gotham at this point.
No, everyone knows that puppy is getting put to sleep soon, so no one wants to, hang that noose around their neck.
I can't understand why so many people still watch it, but
because they're bad and they like bad things.
In a recent interview, Stephen Amell said that he thinks Green Arrow could beat up Batman in a fight. I know that he has to say this, right? He is Green Arrow, but no.
Stop it.
Not gonna happen. This is a little bit meta. This isn't nerd stuff. This is like media consuming stuff. But it
helps nerds.
Absolutely.
Sure. It's so good for nerds.
Yeah, very interesting to us. So Netflix announced their programming slate for next year, not titles and release dates and stuff, but they announced that they're going to essentially double their original content from 2015 to 2016. And they're going to have more than 30 original shows, 30 seasons worth of original shows on Netflix next year. So it was rumored that there were some content partners that were dragging their feet, and Netflix had money that they were going to allocate toward getting the Miramax library or the so-and-so library or whatever. Those weren't the ones that were quoted in the article.
Right.
But they're going to take that money and they're just going to make more entertainment. And whether it's original IP or not, but it's something to be excited about. And then the last thing that we have here before we move on to the B segment is that Amazon, we are big proponents of Amazon Instant Video, use it quite a bit. They're releasing a new add-on to their Amazon Prime Instant Video. It didn't have a release date, but when I went on the website, it looked like it was active now. So I would go take a look at it if you're an Amazon Prime user. But they're now giving people the ability to add like featured add-on subscriptions. So some of them are like premier cable networks like Starz and Showtime, and we talked about Ash vs. the Evil Dead, so maybe I'll use my Amazon Prime to go get show Stars for $8.99 a month until I binge through that show. But also like Comedy Central Plus will be like a featured add-on that you can add for like $2.99 a month, or so it has the ability to reach the niche market or whatever. And I think it's more options in this area, more options for a la carte is good for us.
Yep.
So
we're almost there, right?
We're so close.
Exactly.
The cord is such a realistic thing for us all, especially as things like this expand. So
yeah,
really excited.
if only I am not a Comcast fan, but if only Comcast would be able to convince all of their content partners to just put their on-demand service up for a $7.99 monthly charge, I would gladly pay for that, or $9.99, or even like $15.99 to get their the on-demand portion for cable. I think that would be great. Some of us are still tethered by live sports, but yeah. All right, so that was the news for this week. We are going to go ahead and take our first break, and we'll be right back to talk about the best movie trailers we've ever seen.
So welcome back to Pop Nerdery. Here in the B segment, we're going to take a topic for a walk. We're going to stretch our legs. We're going to go around the block. We might leave the neighborhood. I don't know. We haven't decided yet. But sure enough, we're going to get into this thing.
We'll take our little baggies, right?
We'll pick up anything that the B segment happens to drop off on the way, be it flaming hot takes or poop. Either way.
We're not trying to upset the neighbors here.
No, I'm just out to stretch this thing's legs.
We are going to be flinging some bullshit.
There will be poop. We have bags. It's okay.
There will be poop.
There will be poop. In last week's episode, we talked a lot about what makes a really good trailer, what makes a terrible trailer, and kind of tried to get a little bit deep into the different kinds of trailers that there are. We discussed, the difference between an action trailer and a comedy trailer, and, kind of highlighted some of the things that we really love and get us excited about movies and how it helps to sell it. But we also referenced the fact that a lot of times a trailer can be the most disappointing thing possible because it makes a relatively mediocre movie look good. So tonight we're going to actually talk about some of our favorites that did a great job of actually helping to sell the movie or impress a point upon us before we even got to see it, get us excited. And conversely, those trailers that just simply were all the hype and none of the substance. And I think one that we mentioned a little bit in the news topic segment was Batman versus Superman. Dave, you want to walk us through where you think this falls on the spectrum?
Yeah, I think this trailer is for two different audiences. There's a little bit of good in there for people like us, where we really wanted to see more of Affleck's Batman. And getting to see that was good. Getting to see a little bit more of Wonder Woman was good. But for people like us, the bad is it gave away a lot of plot. There was a lot of plot. In that one we kind of know, like I mentioned earlier, we know the resolution of the Batman-Superman, climactic battle that we've been waiting to see on film for years and years and years. We know that by the end of the movie they're going to be super friends. And we know that we're going to see, I'm pretty sure that was Abomination from the Incredible Hulk movie, right?
Yeah.
Right there at the end of that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely.
Definitely. So, and we know we're going to see Frankenstein's monster, I guess, at the end of the movie.
Damn it.
So I am, after seeing that trailer.
Fire bad.
Jesus.
After seeing the trailer, I'm still bullish about the movie as a whole, right? Like, I think that's a good structure for a movie. I just wish they wouldn't have given it all to me already. So the thing I think it would be good to do would be to contrast that against another recent example, which is the first full trailer that we saw for J.J. Abrams' Star Wars. So we have, we've really been, to use my phrase from last week, in the bag for Star Wars. We know we are. And we know that the marketing for that movie has been particularly good. But Brent, tell me why you think that first trailer for Star Wars works better than what we got for Batman last week.
Sure. And Dave, you did a nice job in episode 5 really summarizing this, where trailers aren't for us. We're the guys that spend an evening talking to each other about movie trailers because we're huge nerds, and it doesn't take the trailer to buy us the ticket, have it on our radar, whatever. The trailers really are for the masses. And so that's how we try to view this topic is, if we weren't us, how would we feel about a trailer? And that's part of the reason why, the Batman vs. Superman doesn't work the way we want it to work, because it's seemingly giving away the whole movie. And JJ and kind of Lucasfilm have kind of, or Disney has taken the stance of, we're not going to spoil this movie for you. And I think fanboys appreciate that, and the masses really should appreciate that as well. The first full trailer of The Force Awakens, and really everything they've been doing in their marketing, has been very deliberate about, look, guys, there's similar TIE Fighters, there's similar Millennium Falcons, there are similar Han Solos, but this movie is about new characters, new droids, new planets, and new crisis. And that's why the trailer works. I don't have much of a sense on the story based on the movie, or based on the trailer. And that's something that I think they've been very deliberate about. I think Bob Iger came out, in October or something and said, you guys have seen a lot of imagery from the first third of the movie, and that's about it. And that's an exciting, kind of novel idea for a trailer, which shouldn't be the case. And I think that's why I'm still very, very hopeful that this trailer is giving me everything I need out of a trailer, because I can't tell where the story is going beat for beat for beat like maybe I can with a Batman vs. Superman. I'm just getting visuals and dialogue and music and action that tells me, yep, you want to be on board this train.
Yeah. And a couple of my examples that I really like, in this, it's not quite fan service, but it is the, mystery over plot. I always loved Spielberg movies for this. You see the trailer for E.T., and it was like this. You see the trailer for like a more recent, Spielberg was Super 8, right? No, that was JJ.
That was Abrams.
It was JJ.
Yeah.
Abrams, which the trailer for Super 8 fooled me.
Just all of Super 8 was a humongous homage to Spielberg, so it might as well have been.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I got confused. It was an homage to him. But so that was one that definitely fooled me. The trailer for Super 8 made it look like it was gonna be in my top 10, definitely, for sure. And I think what I liked about it was I liked that mystery. I liked that it gave me the Spielberg mystery. The execution of the movie, not so much. But it gave me that I don't know, that feeling that you got when you were a kid, when E.T. opened and you were watching guys run through the forest but not seeing their faces. Like, there's mystery to that, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. And I've talked before about Abrams' TED Talk, where he talks specifically about the mystery box, and I think he is one of the good guys. Like, as much as we don't want to be, sucking J.J. Abrams' dick on the podcast right now, he really gets that component of things, that movies, storytelling, trailers, marketing really has to give the payoff to go see the movie and to understand the thing. That's one of the ones where I have great trailer, meh movie written down, is Cloverfield.
Yep.
That movie looked like everything I wanted out of a movie.
Was I so hyped about that trailer. That trailer was fucking amazing.
Trailer sold me.
Yep.
The first time I saw that movie, I think I'd heard about the project, but it had very cryptic details on all the movie websites.
Yeah.
It had very, very deliberate secrecy involved around it, so I was already anticipating an exciting movie, and then the trailer really delivered on that.
Yeah.
The movie was fine. There were interesting parts of it, but it was mostly just Blair Witch with a lot
Godzilla.
of CGI, right?
I don't know what movie I saw that in front of. I could not name it if you
was
paid me
it.
to.
Was it the first Star Trek? No, that.
No.
No, it would have been earlier than that, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
But I remember walking out of that movie, like up the tunnel and out into the hallway, so that I could Google Cloverfield on my phone because I hadn't heard about it. So I was so amped after that trailer that I definitely needed or wanted more. That is definitely a trailer, kind of along the lines of Super 8. Those two are the trailers those are our trailers. Those are nerd trailers. And it either has to do two things, I think, in order for it to be a nerd trailer, is it has to give you a lot of mystery, so you're very, very curious, or it has to give you a lot of nostalgia. And that's what Super 8 did for me, is it gave me a ton of nostalgia for watching Spielberg movies as a kid.
See, but maybe I'm smart enough now where I realize they're baiting me. Because, like, say, for instance, a movie like Pixels, a lot of nostalgia, zero interest in seeing it.
Yeah, but it was also a really shitty trailer. Like, that was, it was a shitty trailer with a shitty movie. Like, I think had somebody else done Pixels and it was like a true homage to our childhood games, like, for example, I'm really anticipating the trailer for Ready Player One. Spielberg is doing a movie from that book.
Yeah.
I'm really anticipating that one.
I'm curious. Cloverfield was one of the ones I had written down in terms of, sold the hell out of me. Dave, I do have a question. I looked it up. It premiered in front of Transformers. Did you pay money to see Transformers?
It was the first Transformers, though, right?
Well, okay.
I liked it, honestly. So we this was almost one that I talked about during our most rewatched movies.
Oh God!
The 1986 Transformers animated movie is definitely on my most rewatched movies. I had it on VHS, broke the VHS because we watched it so many times when we were a kid.
Dave, you almost ended this podcast right now.
Yeah.
If you had been like, Shia LaBeouf is an American master and a fucking genius, like that might have been the end of the podcast.
I was very curious about that movie. It was before I really processed how light on plot, high on explosions Michael Bay was.
Michael Bay.
I really hadn't put that all together yet. I'm not even going to wait till the end of the podcast to do a quick recommendation. Just go download the soundtrack to the 1986 Transformers movie.
Oh, hell yes.
You'll thank me. Like, go download it, put it on, and then go for a run. Or, like, do, like, what would normally be in a Rocky montage. Do activities like that.
Yep.
And it will really pump you the fuck up.
I believe
so you're
it's on
saying
Amazon Music.
I might be able to lose, like, 10% body mass if I just do that?
Yeah.
Basically.
There's a song called Dare. It's called Dare to Believe You Can Survive. That's the lyric.
Whoa.
I'm not going to sing on this podcast, but it's like...
Not in episode 6, at least.
Yeah.
Not yet.
It is 100% of, like, 80s
so
metal glory on that. And it's like
need a montage.
Oh, yeah.
Montage.
Also, Weird Al Yankovic makes an appearance, which is always good.
Love that. All right. Good.
So, along with Cloverfield, one of the ones I felt like didn't work super well, and I think this was the trailer. Hi, I'm going to establish a thought here any second. I was along that lines of I was very curious about a movie like Cloverfield was 300. Frank Miller.
Okay.
It's got a very distinct style. Nerds everywhere were really worried about an adaptation for this.
Absolutely.
Like, can you translate what made that book? I mean, seminal. It's a great book. Can that even possibly be translated? And the trailer kind of answered that with a resounding yes. And so I kind of stopped thinking about everything else they were going to do for that movie, and just was so excited that they had managed to get the style was right. Stylistically, that looked correct. And what was in my memory. And then went and saw it and was like, yep, they sure did it. Stylistically, that looked exactly like a Frank Miller book. And that was still a really bad movie.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't have too many problems with that one, but I also really loved both the trailer and the movie for a couple of other comics adaptations that are, half loved and half maligned in the nerd world, which are Sin City, yes, which is another Frank Miller,
Great trailer.
And we briefly mentioned The Watchmen, which the trailer for Watchmen was outstanding. It was all I could have asked for.
And I like the movie.
Yeah, and I agree there are some problems with the movie, but I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that was on
really
my
like
list
300, really like Watchmen, don't like Sin City, but love
Nope.
all three of those trailers.
Yeah, the Sin
So
City
we're
trailer is
kind of all
gorgeous.
on a little bit different boats on which of those movies worked, but I think we all agree the trailers definitely worked, right?
Yeah. And I think going along with that is there's something to be said, like, and we haven't really touched on it specifically in terms of where the trailer, we mentioned earlier, Brent, you mentioned earlier that, sometimes trailers aren't for us. I think there are a lot of cases where they are for us, like for Batman and Superman, Batman v Superman in Star Wars and, things of that ilk. You're right. They're not say me a ticket with a trailer, nor am I not going to buy one based off a trailer, one way or the other.
Right.
Movies like Mad Max desperately needed a good trailer.
Yeah.
Just even and I discussed this in other places, that when that trailer came out, I was super jazzed because it looked gorgeous, but in the back of my mind, I fully expected to be disappointed with it.
Yeah.
And instead, it did something we touched on where it basically just gave us action from the first third, and the whole half of the movie at least isn't represented in that trailer, and it was a completely new experience.
Yeah, and that was one that had
Mystery
to
box.
build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the one that kind of had to build with word of mouth. Was
Yep.
Mad Max. I wasn't going to see it, necessarily based on the trailer. I wasn't really invested in that world anyhow. But yeah.
And I think the same way was, and this is going back quite a bit, well, not quite a bit, but a lot in terms of selling you on a premise and then actually stylistically being able to follow up on it, where I think 300 didn't do that. I went back and watched the original trailer for Alien, which might be one of the best examples of selling you on a look and feel and concept of a movie.
And tone.
And then it absolutely delivers.
Absolutely. Great reference.
Absolutely.
I think the same way The Shining does the same way. You look at that trailer with the blood hallway sequence in there. That's the, and it's one of those things where that's it's obviously a visually captivating scene, and you're like, holy shit, what's the blood hallway about? But in the reality, in the grand scheme of things, that one scene doesn't really matter too much. They didn't give anything away except for something that looked cool, and you now wanted to see more of what that world was about.
And it captures, and here's, I think, kind of what's lost, is it captured so much of, what that movie was going to feel like or do to you as you watched it, right?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of these trailers fall short or win, right? Is that they, whether it's a comedy trailer like we talked about in episode 5, when they play a joke in the trailer, and then I go to the theater thinking I'm going to get 20 more jokes, but I don't. I got all the jokes in the trailer. Anchorman 2 was very disappointing to me because of that, as someone that loved Anchorman 1. Dumb and Dumber 2, excuse me. Dumb and Dumber 2 was something that the movie starts off with Lloyd Christmas having played a 12-year prank on Harry, as if he's in comatose, and that is shown in a trailer.
Yeah.
Why do you bother, right?
Yeah, why even bother making
it's such
the movie
a
at all?
throwaway joke explanation anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was you're like, oh man, this is so good, you guys. I'm going to show it in the trailer, and it's still going to kick you in the theater.
Don't give me plot points. Give me tone. Give me feeling. Give me image. Something that is bigger than any one point or any one joke of the movie, right?
Well, and I know that there were this franchise, I guess, let down after the first one, but both the trailer and my first viewing of The Hangover, the Hangover movie, did not disappoint. The trailer had a ton of jokes in it, and the movie just had an epic shit ton more jokes. And I feel like
Wedding Crashers was like that for me too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the trailers were full of jokes and they were good jokes, but the movie, you could afford to give away a lot of jokes in the trailer because the movie is just chock full of the joke per minute ratio is very, very high.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe that is kind of case by case basis on comedies, and we don't give enough credit there.
Yeah.
I think that's one place you just have to know the strength of your movie. For both of those, I feel like both of those writing teams and staffs knew that they had they had done good work, and so that when it came to the marketing, there wasn't anything that I've heard, and I would assume this is true, that there are a lot of times that writers will say certain jokes are off limits for the trailer,
Yeah.
Like, these are like A-list stuff. Like, don't give that away. Because I mean, very rarely would writers or anything else have anything to do with the editing of a trailer. I mean, let alone the editing of a movie, let alone editing a trailer.
Right.
So.
Well, there are two categories I think that are off limits for the trailer in terms of jokes. Anything that has like multiple callbacks, you won't put in the trailer because you're crippling that joke, 3 times as opposed to just one. And then anything that is like your grade A, 100%, this is the best 2-3 jokes in the movie. You don't want to give that away in the trailer either. I was literally like doubled over laughing in The Hangover, and that is after seeing it's a modern movie. We kind of touched on this last week, but for modern movies, you see you see 2 teasers, and then you see a poster, and then you see. Then you see a trailer, then you see 2 short trailers, and then you see the one that they play over and over again during football games. Like that's it is tough sometimes to still have the movie feel fresh when you go into it, especially for a comedy, I think.
Yeah, and that's something interesting that I think, and I have this in my notes as one of the ones that I think does a great job, and this is across multiple trailers, but Tarantino for 8 films now has created very, like in terms of selling you on look and feel and tone, I don't know a guy who does a better job of selling the feel of a movie better in 30 seconds than Tarantino does. And a lot of that is from setting that tone, selling you on the message, if not like the specific plot, but kind of letting you know, if you're signing up for this, here's the kind of trip you're going to take. And it's arguable, like I think he's gotten a little more of a format or a template, starting
formulaic,
with a lot of the trailers, at least to me, feel pretty similar especially with looking at Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight, that we're now seeing a lot of trailers out for, which I like and I'm excited for. But if you had told me that these were just extras from Django, I would believe that. But going back to looking like the trailer for Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, those are all just incredible snippets that tell you exactly what kind of ride he wants to take you on, and you kind of immediately know whether you're in or not.
Yeah, I totally
agree. I got 2 more examples of great trailer, movie disappointed that I'll try to run over real quickly, and then I think maybe we ought to talk a little bit about great trailer, great movie. Really hash that out because you're already there, Toph, with a lot of the Tarantino stuff. As a very, very heavy Star Wars specific podcast here, Phantom Menace, that trailer, the first time I saw it, did everything I needed and wanted it to do. And
jumping up and down on the couch.
Obviously, that movie disappointed everyone that saw it
greatly.
Well, and the thing was, I think I hate to jump over you, but I think obviously 1 was the big one just because we were all so excited for it. But honestly, we went and saw The Phantom Menace multiple times in the theaters, and then still all went and saw the other ones. So 2 and 3 trailers had to do a pretty decent job of rebaiting the hook too.
Yeah.
Well, and here's what I was going to say about it. What it did, and I specifically remember this because I remember the music, because the music was great. And the music helped me understand this was new, this was fresh, but it sounded familiar enough. So credit to John Williams.
Oh, for sure.
Credit to, exactly what that brought to it. But there were teeny tiny flashes, glimpses of scenes, glimpses of imagery, glimpses of planets, creatures, characters, etc. And that's all I needed. And maybe that's because it's an IP that's super familiar for me. But that is exactly all I need out of a trailer. And that's why sometimes great trailers of an IP that I'm not super familiar with fall into that same place. If your music is good, it can help you sell the tone, right? It can sell this overarching theme a little bit if you splice it with the right dialogue. So
I think I was really, really sold on those, and the reason why those trailers worked, I think even after we were disappointed by Phantom Menace, the trailer for Clones and the trailer for Sith, they both worked, and the reason why is because it gave you what you wanted. I wanted glimpses of those characters, and I wanted John Williams' score, and I wanted I wanted the cool action, like they showed you the Darth Maul lightsaber fight in the trailer.
Yeah, I wanted
just
to believe they wouldn't be as bad as Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and then what you didn't want is you didn't want George Lucas dialogue, and you didn't want to see the origin story of C-3PO's gold-plated armor or whatever.
To this whole thing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly. I 100% agree on those.
One last one. This might be off your radar, but again, since we're in Star Wars mode, I went back as soon as Gareth Edwards was announced as the director for Star Wars Rogue One. I went back and watched the movie Monsters. Have either of you seen that?
No.
I would recommend.
This is not Halle Berry, right? That's Monster. This is Monster.
That's Monsters Ball, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Monster is what is her
prison
name?
Lady movie, right?
She's
Monster is Charlize Theron.
Yes, and they really upped her up.
Mine. This movie is called Monsters.
Okay.
And the trailer is very interesting. Movie is fine, but what it really should be touted for is the incredible CGI work that was done basically by a guy on his.
Wow.
And that's the reason you should watch it to appreciate, just how far low budget film has come. But the trailer is excellent, and I think I don't want to call it a bad movie, but the movie didn't deliver for me, I guess. But the trailer is fantastic because it sets all the right tone and gives me every reason to know why I want to see the movie.
So that's a great segue. Let's chat about movies that completely disappointed us but had us buying tickets on opening weekend based on the trailer. And the one that is the most shameful in my mind is a movie that I don't actually even I pretend it doesn't exist. Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal, whatever the fucks. That trailer gave me hope for an old indie because it had been a long time. You'd seen stuff from the set, and he almost dies during production, right? Wasn't that or is that Star Wars with the plane crash?
Star Wars.
Okay. So, but there was something else he did, like dislocated a shoulder. So I don't remember what it was. And you're going,
Han Solo is very accident prone. That's the reality of all this. Is the guy just keeps injuring himself. But he's
can he even reprise this role? Like, will he look dumb? Will he look like an old man swinging the whip? And the trailer comes out, and you go, "Oh shit, he still got it." And you minimize the LaBouffe in the trailers and play up all of It does a great job. We talked about it in episode 5 in terms of one of the things that you can sell us on is the nostalgia of that fan service. And they sold the shit out of it, and I believed, and I went and saw it in the theater. And dear God, is that movie fucking terrible?
Yeah. At one point, he's in a refrigerator, right? He gets blown up by a nuclear bomb?
No, he's not, because that movie doesn't exist. So that scene could have never happened since that movie doesn't exist.
So also the thing with the ants, that doesn't happen?
Nope, sure doesn't.
All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure we were both on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so great trailer, great movie.
I have an example here that's a recent one. I wanted to stay recent because I really do think there's a disconnect between marketing for movies like pre-1999 and post-1999.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was The Matrix that is kind of the deciding line. I'm not sure.
Divider, yeah.
You guys will have to help me.
But demarcation.
But prior to that, it was the best marketing, like the best quality that you were going to get during the marketing campaign was always the poster, right? Because you were going to get those beautifully painted, wonderful-looking, iconic posters. Drew Struzan or John Alvin or...
Dave, I don't know that I necessarily agree with you here, because if you look at stuff like Alien and The Shining, like those are great trailers. I think they were just farther and fewer in between because of that stylistic in a world.
I would just argue
in
it was
a world.
It's the voice. It's the in a world where blah blah blah. And that was especially pervasive in like certain genres like action, But whereas like now you're getting just CGI posters for everything, and you're not getting that same artistry. I think you're getting better trailers. You're getting better trailers now because it's easier to edit and maybe have some CGI done early enough in the process to really give you that hit. So they have to be selective of what they put in the trailer. And one that really did it for me was Looper. I thought that Looper had a fantastic trailer, and I thought it was a fantastic movie. The ending falls apart a little bit, but I thought they really set up the world very well. They gave you the tone of what it would be like if there was a dystopian time travel movie, which is kind of like what that was. And they gave you the shot of Joseph Gordon-Levitt doing his best Bruce Willis impersonation or impression, and it really worked. It really worked in the trailer where you had those two guys sitting across from each other. I think that's my one example from the last 10 years within the genre, within our genre that sticks out to me as great movie, great trailer.
I have a laundry list if you'll indulge me right quick, and I really just kind of want a quick hit. I kind of bounce around genres, but I think the key on all of these is it gave me a glimpse, and then the movie delivered more than I expected in a good way based on just what I saw in the trailer. And probably the two that are most notable and within our theme are Ex Machina and Birdman. Did you guys see Birdman?
I saw the movie. I don't think I saw the trailer.
Oh, really? Okay.
I really liked the trailers, and then I read about the movie, and that put me off of it, as opposed to the trailer.
I liked the movie a lot. I thought it was.
I loved the movie. Yeah.
I thought it was more of an impressive execution than it was like a great theme that I like. It stuck with me. But I love it was a very well executed movie. And
spoilers. It's just a really long one shot, right?
It looks like that. I don't think it actually is.
Right, but it's meant to be.
But it really looks like it. Like it really, really does. Impressive. You believe it.
Yeah, and you can appreciate the artistry there. I still liked it as a character driven story a lot, and I thought the trailer did it justice in a good way, but then the movie delivered more than I expected.
Yeah.
So those are two that are most kind of on point with kind of the nerd world, and then there are three other films that I've just seen in the last probably 12 months that the trailers were good, and then the movies were better. And two are a little more off the radar. The Place Beyond the Pines, which is a Ryan Gosling film.
Didn't see that one.
It's good. It is good. The title makes it sound like a kitschy romantic
like a Nicholas
film, and
Sparks
it is
film?
not.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. It is not The Notebook at all.
Thank God.
It is. It's about a guy that lives in the backwoods and has to pull heists just to make stuff happen.
Remember this trailer, and actually remember thinking this trailer was really good.
It's a really good trailer. I think the movie is good as well. And there is a film that was really off the radar for whatever reason. It's a Scarlett Johansson film called Under the Skin that is very much in our world.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it.
And it's about a girl and her seducing guys. And that's about all I want to say about it. But watch the trailer and watch the movie. I think the movie is very interesting and creepy. The ending is does
it have a twist ending? We know how you love twist endings.
No, I wouldn't call it a twist ending. The ending is something that I'd love to analyze with you guys at some point. And the last one, again, bouncing genres a little bit, also has Scarlett Johansson in it, is a movie called Don John. I don't know if you guys remember this movie coming out.
I remember.
The trailer I thought was fine. I thought it was that fast-paced. It did a lot of the movie trailer trope stuff with the fast-cut images and Jordan or I
was saying, is this Joseph Gordon-Levitt, right?
Thank you. Joseph Gordon-Levitt does the voiceover for the trailer, and he does voiceover for a lot of the movie as well. But the movie has a lot more going on than the
one
trailer.
Where he really likes porn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
See,
Did you see that movie, Dave?
Yes, I really loved the trailer and wasn't as hot on the movie, but I loved the trailer a lot. Thought it was great.
Okay.
Because I saw the
like the
trailer
movie.
and specifically didn't watch the movie.
Right.
One that
I
was.
think a lot of people probably didn't see it because of the trailer.
Potentially.
So you did a trailer. You mentioned something about that trailer that was a lot of like fast cut, inner cut images and stuff, along with like good music or fast paced upbeat music.
Yeah.
And the trailer that I thought of when you mentioned that was the trailer for the girl with the dragon tattoo, which I was definitely seeing that movie anyways because it was Fincher, right? So I'm going to see Fincher movies no matter what. But the trailer for that movie was so good. And I had already read the book, so I was probably predisposed to see the trailer anyhow. I didn't think the execution of the movie was anything like all that special. Like it's not one of my top 5 David Fincher movies, but that trailer was probably one of the best trailers that I've seen in the last 10 years.
It was really good.
Yeah.
So I want to.
I've talked Prometheus off the ledge, but that's another example of a great trailer.
I
agree about the trailer.
It had a really pretty trailer.
I do agree.
Pretty.
It was really pretty.
Go, Toph. Do the thing.
So I'm gonna challenge us here a little bit. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot a scooch. So we've discussed and tried to analyze and broken down a lot of what we think makes a good trailer, where trailers fall flat. I'm gonna go ahead and ask us all to postulate a movie that we've seen a trailer to and actually expect to be good based on what you've seen in the trailer. I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it on wax. I think the Jungle Book lives up to the trailer it's got. We've only seen one of them right now. It's got it does a little bit of the fan service and the nostalgia going through characters, which is all well and good. However, I think that it also does a really nice job of kind of similar to what Mad Max did in his trailer in terms of you've got to resell me on this universe that you've understood it and that it's convincing, but then also that you're going to do something that I want to see with it that's going to be interesting. And I think that I'm going to go and put it on wax. I might be embarrassed in a couple months' time here, but I think Jungle Book is going to be really good just based off that trailer alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Scarlett Johansson, third reference.
It's my first. It's your third, but it's my first. So.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to go simple, and there's a lot of hate out there for Batman vs. Superman right now, but I really think, judging by that trailer, I'm going to tell you either that movie will be good or the Batman solo film that we haven't seen a trailer to and won't see a trailer to for 2 more years will be good. Because I think just seeing that trailer, I'm really bought into Affleck's Batman. And maybe I'm not bought into what Zack Snyder does with that movie. I can't ever be 100% confident in that, but I am bought into that incarnation of that character.
I think I'm with you. I don't think I'm obviously go see Batman v Superman. I don't think there's anything that movie can do that, unless it ends with Batman killing Superman, which we all know Batman doesn't kill. There's no possible way it can't come out disappointed from that movie. So I'm kind of shit out of luck here. However, I do think that the Batfleck movie, the solo movie, will be good and he'll carry it well.
Yeah.
I will go with 2 trailers that I've seen very recently. One's a little bit of a cop-out as well. The Deadpool movie. I love Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I love the Deadpool character. I love that they're, being very meta with all the marketing and everything. It's very fitting to the character. So I'm super excited about the Deadpool movie. And one that's a little maybe off our radar, a movie called The Revenant. Have you guys seen the trailer for that?
I have, and the trailer is very jarring.
Jarring is a great word for it. Leonardo DiCaprio. It's an adventure western set in the 1800s.
Is this the one where the internet thought he was being raped by a bear?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That is exactly the trailer.
Okay, just checking. I have heard of this.
And whether it's trust in Leo or just the imagery that I've gotten so far, I think that movie will be kind of a fun in a dark way.
That's the same director as Birdman.
You're right.
Yeah, same director as Birdman.
Nice.
I've also heard that the shoot for that movie was insane, where he had guys out in like 25-degree weather for like 6, 8, 10 hours at a time trying to get the lighting right and shit like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So with Deadpool, I want to circle around to this here. Deadpool kind of does the thing that we shit on some comedies for doing and selling a lot of jokes in the trailer.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very excited for this movie, but what is it that gives you confidence in this? Do you think that they're just so fucking convinced in that script, in the delivery, that they'll sell you a bunch of jokes in the trailer going, we've got a bunch of other stuff here too?
I think what it is the amount of passion and longevity that everyone attached to it has shown, plus the fact that, like, the jokes, the kitsch can't run dry on Deadpool.
That's very true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds has been funny since the first time I saw him in a sitcom about two guys, a girl, and a pizza place.
Oh, God.
Through Van Wilder.
Yeah.
Through everything he's ever done.
He's very funny.
And on Conan. And, sitting in an interview with Jimmy Fallon. Like, whether he's my Johnny Depp,
He is,
or I just appreciate his level of comedy, the character of Deadpool gets to make fun of everything.
And I think
that's
that
why
they kind of specifically called this out by repeating the same joke, like, your face looks like X, and they do that like 3 times in quick succession in that trailer. Like, and now partially that it makes it funny because they keep going back to it. Like, the first time you laugh and you're like, yeah, it looks like an avocado fucked a topographical map or whatever the joke is. Like, and you're like, God, it's funny. And they do it again, and he does it again, and Reynolds' reaction to it is, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and it also shows you that they allowed the actors, because they hired funny people. They hired T.J. Miller and they hired Ryan Reynolds, and they allowed them to improv and come up with a bunch of jokes. So that movie has to just be a joke a minute. There are just jokes on jokes on jokes.
And whether it's, I don't like this reference at this point in the PC world that I like to think I live in, but like how I know you're gay? Your dick tastes like shit. You know how I know you're gay? You listen to Coldplay. You know how I know you're gay? Like, that just running strand of jokes never got old, and I was ready to watch any outtakes of that for the same reason that I think what you just mentioned, Dave, the Deadpool stuff will do the work. So
exactly.
I hope that launches a whole new franchise, because that's something.
Hell yes.
Comedy slash comic book slash guys in their 30s need R-rated films doing this, just because it has a spot that's not.
Hallelujah, an R-rated.
I'm really holding out hope that they make a lot of in-jokes about Deadpool's first appearance on film, which was the film that will not be named.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of great material if you go Green Lantern, if you go Weapon X, if you go Tara Reid. Like, he's got all this plethora of
horrible
Hollywood in-jokes to make for themselves and for us. So I love it.
So that'll do it for the B section here. I think that we've delved as deep into the trailer talk as we want to go. However, we want to hear what you guys think. I want to know what trailers you're excited about. I want to know what you think are some of the most disappointing trailers you've ever seen. I think there are a lot of them that we probably skipped over. Obviously, there's some obvious ones that are awful and stayed awful. But I want to know, what was the one that was the dick punch? What was your Phantom Menace? What was the one that was just a brutal assault on your senses? Hit us up at PopNerdery. Let us know which one just really hurts you on the insides. And we will be back momentarily.
All right, welcome back. We are going to wrap up episode 6 here, tie a nice little bow on it by helping you guys out with some recommendations, helping each other out, kind of putting us on the track to get some stuff in, hopefully before the next episode of Pop Nerdery. So I'll just kind of finish up mine here right quick. I've already talked about it on this episode. Ex Machina is a movie that, got plenty of trailer views and seemed to be in front of every movie that I saw. But I went to go see it and didn't really have anybody to talk about it with, and would love you guys to go check it out. It just popped up on Amazon Prime as something that you can stream for free. So shout out to Amazon, shout out to Amazon Prime, shout out to Ex Machina. It's got 2 of the lead actors who actually have roles in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So if you want a little Domhnall Gleeson and Actor's name is
Oscar Isaac, right?
Oscar Isaac. Thank you.
There it is.
In your life before you go see Star Wars next week, check out Ex Machina on Amazon Prime.
Nice. I will definitely do that. I've been telling you for a little while that I was going to check that one out so we could chat about it. But I've heard nothing but good things. So I've got 2 quick recommendations this week. My first, if you are doing some Christmas shopping and you have a movie buff on your list, go to litographs.com, L-I-T, like literature, litographs.com, and they actually have a Miramax collection. What these are T-shirts and tote bags and posters and shit like that. But I'm interested in the T-shirts where what these are, they have a full-on Miramax collection where they take 4 of the most popular Miramax movies, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Clerks, and Good Will Hunting. And what it is, there's like a silhouette of like a scene from the movie or an iconic image from the movie, and then all around it is printed on the shirt is the entire script from the movie. So if you look close, you're reading the script.
Damn.
I know. So if you have...
I know. Damn it. Fuck you,
Yeah.
Dave. Why would you do this to my checking account?
I know, right? they're not terribly expensive. I think they're like $25, $24, something like that.
$34.
$34. All right, so $34 for a T-shirt, not great.
Oh, they're so
Yikes.
worth it, though.
Yes, they look fantastic. And
Damn it.
Good Will Hunting is my favorite movie of all time. So I'm perhaps hoping that my brother or my wife listens to this podcast and I have one in my stocking.
Nudge.
But yeah, so that's my first recommendation. They're super cool. Go check them out. For if you have somebody in a grab bag and they like movies specifically.
Or books.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot in here that are not movie based, but these are the ones that caught my eye. My second is streaming on Netflix right now. It is the Aziz Ansari comedy Master of None. It reminds you a lot. It reminds you a lot of Louis. It's very similar to what Louis did with his, where he was given full creative control, and this is what he ended up putting out. Aziz Ansari kind of has a similar thing where it's less, depressed or filled with parenting or stuff like that Louis is, and more filled with, stuff that millennials are talking about and dating as a single person, being a struggling actor, stuff that Aziz Ansari is commented on in his stand-up and stuff like that. It's only 10 half-hour episodes, so I can't really sell it better than that.
Before you break into yours, Toph, I'm going to interrupt you for once in podcast history.
Yes, do
it. I have a second recommendation, and I am pissed at myself for not making it earlier. Again, if you need to get in a little bit more pre-homework before Star Wars, there is an excellent web comic series. It's on webtoons.com. Check it out. It's their first entry in the sci-fi category. It's all of the original trilogy Star Wars stuff, done in manga style, and it's just a little bit of a different spin on each of the plot beats that we're very accustomed to with original trilogy, except for a little bit of Luke Skywalker when he's like elementary school age. To kind of act as a prequel for A New Hope, which is kind of fun because Ben Kenobi shows up.
Shit!
There's only 22 episodes out, but they're super quick reads, super fun, a little bit stylized, in a way that you may not be accustomed to if you don't do manga stuff, but not annoyingly so. If you're also jaded against that, as Toph audibly shakes his head from left to right.
This guy.
I'm not a manga reader, but I do know.
Nor am I.
I know they typically read from right to left. Do these also read from right to left?
No, they are very Americanized versions of. Everything's in English. You can totally recognize which characters are which. They use a lot of the movie dialogue, but then actually switch up some of the movie dialogue in fun, interesting ways too. So,
do they have overly humongous eyes?
They're average size for manga, I would say.
Okay, good.
I'm looking at it right now. I'll check it out, Brent.
Yeah, it's fun if nothing else, just to kind of see the original trilogy done with a little bit different, angles and dialogue. So that's a recommendation for you, right quick. That isn't too time consuming. Toph.
So I'm going to go back into the nerd archive here and touch on something that I missed that potentially some of you may have missed as well, and that's the Preacher series of graphic novels. There are...
Yes.
It's a DC Comics Vertigo imprint. This came out mid-90s, I want to say. The one, I think it was maybe late 90s. There is now gorgeous collections of these available at basically all of your local comic book shops. Go out and support them. They're fantastic. It is definitely different from your normal everyday comic series. It's kind of one of the books that gets mentioned in the same breath outside of your normal superhero books, kind of with Watchmen. Preacher is usually one that follows directly after that in these conversations. Mm-hmm. And I had never read it before until I started about a month ago.
And they're making it into an AMC series, correct?
I believe so, yes. I think that's going to be a thing.
So get the jump on that before essentially, hopefully they'll do it a little bit more justice in The Walking Dead. But
I was going to say, be like Dave and myself and come into a new AMC series just as jaded as all get out because the book was better and they kept sitting on the subject material. And this is your chance to be us in this situation. So it's a fantastic book. I'm actually not going to sell any of the plot points on it. You're gonna have to trust me on this one. If you've heard me talk about comics and I haven't sounded like a complete and utter jackass, read Preacher. If you've heard me talk about comics and I sounded like a dipshit, then wait for someone else who's smarter than me to tell you to read Preacher, and then read Preacher.
Let's be honest, we all sound a little bit like jackasses, whether it's on this podcast
or in real life.
Any other places where you can find us IRL. Or on the interwebs. You can find me and all my atomic fireballs in 140 characters on @shouldn'tbragbutt on Twitter. And Dave, where can we find your stuff?
I tweet as the show @PopNerdery. If you'd like to hear a grown-ass man yell about sports and occasionally politics, you can follow me @DaveFoltz.
Oh, I thought you were going to do me there. So if you want to hear a grown-ass man yell about sports, then let me introduce you to @the hospital ball. You're going to see a grown-ass man yell about some sports. Whatever sports you've got to yell about, I will yell about them. And then I'll talk about nerd shit, too.
Otherwise, definitely let us know what you wish we had talked about on Episode 6, what you want us to talk about in Episode 7. As Toph mentioned, hit us up on all your great trailers that left you sobbing in a shower after you saw the movie, or let us know which ones we missed where the trailer was great and the movie totally don't.
You can still sob in the shower. It's okay.
Rate, review the show, subscribe all of your family members' tablets, and we'll catch you in Episode 6. Gentlemen,
finger guns.
Love you, boys.
Toodles.
Nice
Did
job,
I say
guys.
catch you in Episode 6? I think I meant 7. I don't know if I said 6.
I don't remember what recommendations I made. You think I remember what episode number you just said?
Catch you in episode whatever.